Okay, and let's see.
Kathy, are you going to stay on with us through the remainder of this? Kathy, are you going to stay on through the remainder of this? You're muted.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
It's great to see you here.
Happy to have
Same
you.
here. Same here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for doing all the heavy lifting behind the scenes.
Oh, it's a pleasure actually.
Well, you get to work with Joe on a regular basis.
Yes, I get to work with all of you. I'm actually looking forward to this.
Good, good.
Ernest, how are you doing? How have you been?
Not bad for an old guy today.
You know, you gave me a back scratcher once and I still have it.
Are you using it?
Yes, for
There
what I
you
don't know how many years it's been now.
I don't know, maybe 5, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
All right, I'm letting members of the public are coming back in. So we will just start. I want to make sure we get everyone back in here. And commissioners, please stay on as long as you can. We need a quorum of 3 commissioners to stay on, and I know Commissioner Ward Hyatt does have to leave at 7:30.
Oh,
Okay.
I have to leave at 8.
Okay, well we'll get going then. So I think Andrew, if you want to call
Yes.
the next agenda item.
Okay. Agenda item 10, Malcolm X Boulevard, preservation of existing Roxbury Boys Club structure while replacing surface parking lot with a new public open space, construction of a 6-story multifamily rental building, and construction of a 3-story multifamily home ownership building with a new amenity open space, continued from June 26, 2025 hearing.
Great, thank you, Andrew. So Dartinian Brown and Daniel Riggs, you are co-hosts. I will just very quickly read my staff comments. The applicant presented to the commission on June 26th or 27th, 2024 for an advisory review of this project. During that review, commissioners expressed their support for the project and stated that access from Malcolm X Boulevard side of the development would be preferred. The applicant presented at the June 26, 2025 hearing where the commission voted to continue the review of the application and requested elevations of each building, allowing the context without trees and landscaping, and a comparison of dimensions of the proposed building at 20 Malcolm X Boulevard to those of the Marcus Garvey Gardens. And staff recommends approval with provisos, finding that the work to preserve the Roxbury Boys Club structure will enhance the historic character of this area of the district. The proposed new buildings are of an appropriate scale and complements of the buildings in the area of the district. Considerable effort has been made to retain the existing retaining walls on the property and to replace trees that will be removed to allow construction to proceed. Final design documents at 75% completion or higher are remanded to staff for final approval with the option of returning to the commission if staff feels appropriate. Okay, Dartinian and Daniel, would you like to share your own screens?
Yes, that would be great. Good evening, Joe. Can everyone see this?
not yet.
Yep.
Yes, wonderful.
Oh, there it is.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again for the time. I appreciate the last meeting on June 26, where Commissioner Shelbourne, Ward Hyatt, and Condon were very helpful in honing in on the provisos, which we are here to present tonight. And as Joe kindly recapped, we've put them in order as outlined here, starting off with a massing comparison. I think Commissioner Andrew had a question of how this relates to the Marcus Garvey, which we'll show you, and quite happy with the outcome on that study. We have architectural elevations for both buildings. And then we also included a brick coloration study. I think there was a question around the tones of the brick in the neighborhood, and might we look at a different color, which we are happy to do. So the first slide is really diving into that. The image on the left is our proposed building. And one thing you can notice, we've added a footprint, which really kind of highlights the difference between what we're proposing and how we think it works quite well. Again, reminder, we're on Malcolm X Boulevard here, really on the edge of the district looking out. A key thing to note is we're at 111 units. The Marcus Garvey is at 164 units. We are at 6 stories with a step down, predominant step down at 5. Marcus Garvey is actually 7 here at the corner, with sections that go up to 8 stories. Another key thing that's notable is our building is a bar building in the sense that the end of it is 67 feet. Marcus Garvey actually has a large portions, 160 feet, that's at 4 stories in height. And then as we turn around the corner, coming up Highland Ave, it's actually 5 stories for almost 170 feet in length, in addition to the main facade along Highland. And with the overall size, with that in mind for the footprint, we're at around 82,200 square feet. And the Marcus Garvey is at 135,000 square feet, so significantly bigger in volume. And then this is a view down Malcolm X Boulevard, just showing again our setup relative to context across the street, which is roughly 147 feet away to the USPS. And then for Marcus Garvey on the right up Highland, it's really only 53 feet to the 3-story residential. So quite a different setup and a great exercise. Thank you, Andrew, for asking us to look at that. And here we've kind of done an elevation view of the 5 stories of brick, that rich detailing we talked about with the setback 6 that breaks the length of the building. And then in comparison, the 7-story with that center section that the stairs up to 8-story, just showing the quality in architecture. And I think what we're very proud to have in our building. With that, we're jumping into elevations. So what we've done is gone through for both buildings and shown the kind of, this is again stripped down, removing all the trees, but just wanted to really get to the quality of the architecture and show you key moments, not only in the elevation, but the use of that detailing and calling out the richness of the brick, the cladding, the windows, the wood trespa. As we flip around to both the east and west ends, again, here you can see this is the detailing of the first 2 stories at that community commercial space that spills out onto the public plaza. And then as we flip around, a lot of this is actually behind the retaining wall that we went through and were able to save and repurpose on site for any of the small section that needs to be adjusted. But this was really, again, going to that richness of material, the brick, the cladding, and the windows, and the wood trespa as well. And then here, what we thought was helpful is pull the snapshots of moments around the building in closer detail to just show that the quality of architecture, starting at the upper left, running across the building down, the bays that we had a nice play on the neighborhood, kind of folding out with that warmth of the wood coming in, and then ending up with the lower left at that community-based retail. As we flip over to Dudley Street, I think, Andrew, you pointed it out that we are at 3 stories, even though we have the 4-story right across from us at 69 Dudley, but we did work with the abutters very closely to reduce that height, and it kept it in line with the existing building at 10 Malcolm X, which will remain. And I think, Joe, as you pointed out correctly, we will preserve the quality of that architecture and under a separate application, come back for work around the future restoration of that. But here, honing in on the elevations, moving from the south to the east, down to the north and west, again, calling out key moments, but really looking at the scale of the building, changing the quality. It is a three-story building, so while we have the brick and the warmth of the trespa, we are looking at a different scale, both in window size, kind of more private entry moments, as it relates to the 20 Malcolm X. So a little bit of a different tone brought down in scale for this building.
Excuse me, Mr. Brown, the
Yes.
material you mentioned, the trespa, is that the tannish material?
Yes, that's
Okay.
yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Pleasure. And then here, I think this was a very cool study for us to look at. We kind of discussed our setting up of the materials for 20 Malcolm X and that kind of iron spot brick, the red brick at 10 Malcolm X, and we had originally proposed the iron spot at 70 Dudley. What we've done is shown, within the neighborhood, there is quite an array of brick color and tone, which, we think makes up for the richness and the character of the neighborhood. And what we've done is taken the view which we have, and this is what we had from the last with the iron spot, as it was, and then looked at flipping it to more of a Sahara buff brick as one optionality. So not trying to match 10 Malcolm X, but differentiate, which we think is interesting because of the varied tones along Dudley and the neighborhood. And then this one where we maybe bring the warmth of the trespa in, but go to a red brick similar to 10 Malcolm X. So the real question was, do we carry kind of the iron spot from 20 Malcolm over to this building, or do we introduce something like, if I flip back a second, to the Sahara buff, or lastly, do we try to match the 10 Malcolm X? And love to get commentary on that. I think we have kind of our take on that, but again, appreciate everyone's comment. And with that, Joe, thank you, and to the commission for your comments. We appreciate it.
All right, commissioners, who wants to go first?
Well, because you put it out there, I would love to know what your take, what the design team's preference is.
Yeah.
Thank you, Angela. I would say personally, either the Sahara buff or the iron spot. I would tend to stay away from trying to match the red brick, just because I don't think, given the age of the red brick and just I think we've been the believer, if we acknowledge the new and not try to mimic the old, it's going to be much more impactful. And I think a stronger design, and if anything, really highlights the historic nature of the building rather than trying to compete or match it. So I would be completely happy with the Sahara buff. I think having the 3 tones on site is actually quite cool. And it's a little bit more warmer in scale, in tonal quality as the scale drops. So if the commission is happy with the Sahara buff, we would love to proceed with that.
Well, I thank you for looking at this. I think this might have come from a comment that I had, because I was looking to have more difference in this little piece
Yes.
facing this side of the property. And I really like the Sahara buff. I think you're right that there is an array of different brick tones in the district, and that by doing this, you really get to kind of play on the array and the variety, and it's still obviously kind of the same, it's the same project. The detailing is, you've come up with a very rich, a really wonderful variation in detailing, and all the folds and the brickwork that you're doing, and the material palette. But by choosing a different brick color, I think it really is nice how it turns the corner of the project. So thank you for looking at that. I would be happy with either the iron spot or the Sahara, but I think that the Sahara is just it sings a little bit more as a whole development. to have
Thank
that.
you, Angela.
Yeah.
Yeah, we agree. Thank you. And again, thank you for asking us to look at that. I think that comment was very helpful and we feel better about it.
Commissioner Costin, do you have thoughts?
Yeah, well, there is a lot of red already in existence. It's the lighter color seems to brighten the spot up. I think it's going to be more reflective, more light. And I like the name. So,
Yes, it's a cool name.
yeah.
It's one we won't forget.
Yeah, and it sort of makes the boys club right next door stand out. You know, you can really point to two very different types of brick.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, so I would vote yes on that.
Thank you.
Good work.
Commissioner Samaha, do you have comments?
Nope, I would chime in if I had any comments. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I'm just trying to prod people to make comments. That's all. Commissioner Page Cook, do you have any comments?
Not at this time.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I thought you guys did a great job of the comparison to Marcus Garvey Gardens building. I appreciate that. I thought you guys did I was actually, you exceeded my expectations with that comparison. So I thought that was really good.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that.
And you did an amazing job of responding to Commissioner Ward Hyatt's proviso with the brick elevations.
Thank you.
The renderings are really incredible. So I don't know if you guys do that in-house, but that's really impressive.
Dan is the leader of that. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's duly noted. They're very good. I appreciate the strong detailing of this building. So all the buildings really are very well detailed. So that's really it. I'm happy. I guess we have one thing. If I could just, we do have that retaining wall. If we can just make some kind of comment about deviating from the study report. I think we can get through that and to public comment.
Thank you, Andrew. And sorry, Joe, for not sharing. I thought I'd open it up to questions.
Yeah. So does anyone want to take a stab at that? We're required to, if there's a shall statement in the study report regarding a certain thing, we're just supposed to give a reason why we're deviating.
Andrew, can I make one comment?
Yeah.
The study report does allow for modifications. It's under B8.
Yes, I'm aware, Joe, and that's for creating an access point.
And I think was this related to access at all?
Well, the thing of it is right now there's no access point needed, right? But as soon as you put a building there, then that access point becomes needed, right? So it's kind of an apple, one thing leads to another. So right now,
the egg.
Yes, yeah, chicken before the egg sort of thing, I guess. I don't know how to explain this, but right now there's currently no issue with the access, right? The building could be modified to make an access point, not instead of the wall. But so we just need to say why we're supporting, changing the wall. That's all, per the words in the study report. So I'm sorry to be such a stickler with the language in the study report, but we get into trouble if we vary from that. So does anybody want to take a stab at that?
Well, I'm confused now about there's no destruction on the wall. The retaining wall remains. And so there is access without having to put the wall in there so people can, so there is what they call emergency access or...
Right. it allows us to get access along the, I think, Andrew, if we're looking for a word around it, we can, and I think it says generally, we are allowing access to the full back of the building.
Okay.
Which
So
is
sorry,
why,
go back to that slide. You were just on it, Joe.
yeah, the site
If you can
plan.
zoom in there and into behind 20 Malcolm X, please.
Yeah, and I can, there you
Yeah,
go.
you
If
see how
it
the
can,
wall turns there? That's Commissioner Costin. We're just moving the wall and turning it.
yeah. So, and that actually, Andrew, to your comment, allows access to the rear of the building. If it continued straight, it would actually, you would block access.
Right.
Okay.
So, I mean, generally, I'm okay with this. It's just I just wanted to make a statement about us, not following the study report and stating a reason why we're not doing it. So, I mean, I think you're doing the wall justice with how you're turning it, and that courtyard area is quite nice. So I'm okay with this, but I guess we're making an exception here in this case.
Yeah, thank you.
So can I motion to approve this project with these provisos, or what? How does this next step?
Yeah, you can motion to you can make a motion to approve and read out the provisos. Actually, no, sorry, I'm sorry. We cannot go to motion right now. We have to have public comment.
Oh yeah, okay.
My apologies to the public.
Let me get to the script here. There you are. Can you see that, Andrew?
Yes, public comment. Members of the public will now have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on the application and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand via the Zoom meeting platform. If you are calling in and cannot use the platform, you can press *9 to raise your hand, or you can send your questions to staff via email at highlandactc@boston.gov.
Right, I thought I saw Joan Seamster. Did you want to make a comment? I thought you had your hand raised. Oh, there you are. Okay. All right, Joan, you'll have 2 minutes to make your comment. You should be able to unmute yourself.
Okay, and I'm not able to start video. I would prefer to be on video, but whatever the rules are, I have no understanding, but I'm just going to go with what is being offered. A couple of things, and I understand that today we're only allowed to comment on the revisions, but just sort of overall, this community has real issues with the size of this development. And we were in a meeting recently and somebody said you start at the middle in some of these conversations rather at the top than at the top. At the top, this development does not suit our neighborhood. It's out of scale. The Marcus Garvey is a square. This is a long rectangle, and the extension of it is not in keeping with the rest of the buildings in our community. It is by far the single largest footprint of a single building in this community. And those things don't get brought out in these conversations, which is why I'm putting this out there in the comments so that it is part of the public record. The other piece I wanted to comment on is that we're being told that Marcus Garvey is 7 or 8 stories. It's not. It has one column over on one of the corners that is 7 or 8. The basic structure, I believe, is 5 with some gradation. So it may be 6 in some areas and 5 in the other. Again, misleading information. So for the record, I'm setting that record straight. Third point, the building across the street was being referenced, the USPS office. We have repeatedly stated that Highland Park, this ACD, please only reference buildings in Highland Park. This is the Highland Park ACD, and what you're referencing is not in Highland Park. And we would like actually that stated in the bylaws, but that for the purpose of comparison, that buildings in our catchment be the comparisons and not buildings in other catchments. That would make it very, very helpful for us going forward. And it's been arbitrary to date, and I would like to put that into the bylaws if we could. And finally, I had my hand slapped in the last meeting because I was talking about the color on the outside of a building and how it didn't allow for the detail of the building to come through. And here we had a 5-minute conversation about brick color. Again, I would like this commission to be consistent. And if I'm going to be told that I can't discuss colors and definition of color and impact on a building, then I'm asking very gently that nobody can. It's the guidelines need to be to apply to everybody on a call or in a meeting. And so I'd like clarification on that, not tonight, but I'd
Thank
like
you.
that.
Ms. Eamster, you're well over your 2 minutes. Thank you.
Well, sometimes maybe 2 minutes isn't enough to allow for a consistent, cogent response to what's been happening. Thank you.
All right. We'll move to Kate Phelps. You'll have 2 minutes to make your comment.
Thanks. I'll keep it short as possible. I'm disappointed that the commissioners are choosing to ignore what our standards say. And the standards are very clear when it's talking about mature trees and putting stone walls. Why is it that when we have a big project that the city is desperate to build, that we then have to succumb to this excuse that, well, we can make an exception here having to do with access? Why isn't it the responsibility of the developer who chooses to build in Highland Park, which has an architectural conservation designation and a set of standards and criteria that dictate what should happen? It's not your privilege to say, well, in this case, we'll have an exception. And it's certainly not the privilege of any individuals or for the staff. I want it in the bylaws that the standards and criteria will be adhered to consistently with no exceptions. That's why they're there. Otherwise, everything can be built bigger than the next. This tree can go, that wall can go, buildings can get torn down. We've seen it with this commission before. That's not why it's so hard to have one. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Kate.
All right, I'm just going to look. I don't think I've seen any emails come in, but let me just double check. No, there are no emails. Oops. Okay.
Okay. Are there any other public comments?
If so, raise your hand. And I actually see one just came in from Nick Laudani. Let me see if he is present here. An email from him asking to unmute.
Do we still have all of our commissioners here? Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, Kathy and Liz, do you see Nicholas in the meeting or in the waiting room?
I don't see him.
No.
Nick, yeah, he needs to dial in.
He is in he is listed as a participant.
Yeah, but where is he?
Oh yeah, there he is. I see him.
Johnson. Oh, there he is. Yeah, the one with the white image.
Space. Yeah.
It almost looks like a document.
Okay, I think I can talk now. Do you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, thank you. Well,
gosh, thank you. Thank you for letting me speak here. You know, the sentiment, you know how I feel about this stuff too, is that I say, don't worry about this ruling, folks that disagree with it, because it's based on nothing. There's no bylaws. That means game over. Nothing is valid without bylaws. So, and if we had bylaws, by the way, this is, you know, I also like to say something else about the 2-minute rule. I don't want to take advantage of this, but there is no 2-minute rule. Okay. There is no rules. There's a void of law up here right now. So I'm going to take an extra minute and I'm asking you politely, please, I'm not going to abuse it. I just want to let you know that if anyone's abusing it, it's the city. We are in good faith trying so hard, and you're making us very upset because it's not right. We don't have bylaws. You're jamming this stuff down our throats, and it's not what was meant to be. And I swear I'm going to do everything I can to make sure we have bylaws so strong that this will stop happening. And I'm going to go take this to court if you don't follow what I asked in the OML meeting, and if you don't put my motion up. By the way, that motion to nullify, I did that purposely, quietly, so that it wouldn't go in the public domain. I'm not looking for a fight here. I'm looking for bylaws, and I'm looking for us to not be overwhelmed by Northeastern University, and there's no lack of law. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I think I don't see any other comments.
Okay.
So, Fadi, if you're, oh, go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, so now we're in the space to make a motion here. And I would make a motion to approve this project with the following provisos, that staff review the project at various intervals to ensure that the project is built as presented to this commission. And that if there are changes, that the project returns to the commission.
Right,
Do
is
I hear a
there
second?
It's the space for, before I second it, it's the space for conversation clarification over.
Yeah, I mean,
because I do not recall any comments about the number of trees that we had asked for. Did we not ask for the number of trees that was going to be removed and what species were being replaced in sizes? Did we not have a plan?
yeah, that was part of that. So they didn't give us the full presentation on this round, Ernest. Only they're responding to provisos.
Well, what round would that come up in?
It was probably 2 meetings ago where there was a presentation on the trees.
Yeah, we had gone through the full tree plan in the first presentation with our landscape architect, and that was all spelled out.
All right, so I don't recall the number of trees you're taking down. Do you recall?
I'd
Do
have
you
to
know?
go back and look for it.
Is
But
there
it was definitely in the deck, and I think something like, Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, where we are removing the trees along the parking edge, keeping the mature trees along the street, and we were up like something like plus 70 on the tree count and something like 130 on the caliper inches.
Yeah, that's right. We had a net gain of 74 trees.
Yeah.
From existing.
So we had spent, Ernest, quite a bit of time during the BPDA Article 80 process to address all of that.
Okay, I don't recall that part of the presentation, but that's on me.
It was included. Yeah, and so tonight we came back to really present the 3 provisos that the commission had kindly outlined for us.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So, does anyone want to second my motion?
I will second it.
Okay.
Right, and I will do the roll call vote. Commissioner Shelburne?
Yes.
Commissioner Samaha?
Yes.
Commissioner Cook?
No.
Commissioner Ward Hyatt?
Yes.
And Commissioner Costin?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So, this is Commissioner
Celine. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you joined. Sorry.
No, I joined late. My apologies. I just wanted to let you know I was that I've been here.
Okay, do you want to abstain from this because you may have come in the?
No, I got to hear the bulk of it, so I will say yes.
Okay, all right, thank you, sorry.
How much of the presentation, Selena, have you seen?
I've seen the entire presentation, and then I was here for the part of the presentation and all of the public comment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right, so we'll move to our advisory review next.
Wonderful. Thank you all. We really appreciate the input, and again, have a great evening. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Commissioner Ward Hyatt, I think you're probably going to be logging off. You haven't?
Yes, been
Okay, all right,
minute
thank
or
you.
two. Yeah, thank
Okay, now we're moving on to another agenda item here. This is 51 Dudley Street. This is an advisory review. This is a restoration of an existing two-story facade on Dudley Street, I believe, and construction of a three-story addition to the building that's there now.
Okay, so if the presenter could raise your hand and I'll make you a co-host. Okay, is the presenter here? All right, I'm not seeing them in the meeting. Right, we'll do it once more.
What's the name?
Charles Robeson should be the.
Maybe they were confused about the update to the
Yeah, no, I had.
agenda.
Let me see. Project
some-
management, is that?
Yeah, that may be them.
Yes, hello?
Yes, hello. Are you the presenter for tonight for 51 Dudley?
Actually, it's Jonah Manigat and myself, and also it should be one more person on the line. That was Joseph Detroit.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm asking these people to raise their hands.
My apologies.
Yeah. This is Commissioner Cook.
I tried to
I'm
wave
gonna
my
have to
hand.
leave.
Hi, everybody. I tried to
Sure.
wave my hand. For some reason, I was not allowed to. It was blocked. I don't know, for some reason.
Sure, just a minute. Commissioner Cook, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you had to say.
I have to leave the meeting.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Appreciate your attendance.
Okay, thank you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Would
Yes.
the team like to share your own screen?
Yes. It seems like someone has started sharing.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing if someone from your team wants
Okay,
to
I'm gonna
share.
try to share. Is that all right? I'm on the road, so if I have a problem, someone else will try to share. Okay, but I'm gonna try to
Okay.
share.
All right, and I will just to give some background, the existing building was designed by architect Augustus Warren Gould and built circa 1895 as the clubhouse for the Dudley Association. It later served as the headquarters for the Lettish Workmen's Society, an early part of the organized labor movement in the United States, and then became a Masonic lodge. A fire in the 1980s destroyed the upper stories of the building. Staff notes that the applicant has been working closely with the planning department and staff with the Boston Landmarks Commission to develop the current project proposal. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes. Let me see if I can get to the screen that I'm looking for here. Sorry. I don't think that's it. Just bear with me here for a second.
I'm happy to present if you'd
Okay,
like.
why don't you go ahead? Why don't you go
Yeah,
ahead?
all right.
Okay, I'm sorry, because
That's all right.
I'm not at my desk and I'm on the road and I'm having a little trouble here.
All right. Hopefully everyone can see this.
Well, I can't for some reason. Let me. Why am I not seeing it?
All right. Commissioners, Andrew, can you see this? My screen says,
No, I'm seeing someone looking at AutoCAD drawings here.
Oh, because maybe I'm still sharing.
I think the proponent is still sharing.
okay,
Okay, I stopped sharing.
Okay.
I stopped sharing. So hopefully that will work.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, we can see the presentation slides now.
Very good. All right. Although this seems to be kind of an old presentation, but okay. So this is my first time here. Do you guys want me to go through the slides or?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Go with what you got.
Okay. Very good. All right. So this project is being proposed at an old I get which I believe was at Masonic Lodge and at 51 Dudley Street. Um, if anybody's familiar with the neighborhood, it's currently it's a building that's been vacant for quite a few years. Quite a bit of an eyesore and a sore thumb in the neighborhood that the client is proposing to revitalize and turn into 18 residential units. What we have done as part of a edict from the client was to trying to see if we can bring the original aesthetic of the building as much as possible. Now, considering that the program has changed, it was of a public use. Now it's going to be more of it's going to be a residential use. So it's still the actual uses are changing, but what we try to do as much as possible is keep the flavor and the architecture of the building as much as possible. So I'm not sure where you are here. If you can, okay, thank you. Why don't you stay right here and I can speak to this. I think on the left-hand side you can see some site photos of the neighborhood. And I think most people here are familiar with the building. The building is the front door of the building is actually on Dudley Street, but the building actually has two fronts. If you turn around the corner and get back on Kenilworth Street, I think you moved before I was able to.
oh, sorry. There you go.
Okay, if we could just stay right here. If you look in the picture in the middle, which is with the brick facade, that's the Dudley Street building. Dudley Street entrance, and if you walk up the hill and get to Kenilworth Street, then you get to face another kind of front of the building. So the building really has two fronts, and it's kind of bounded on the two sides, on the two long sides. So and the top right corner is a view of Kenilworth, and the bottom right is a view of the alleyway on the other side of the intersection. If you can go to the next slide, I can just talk to this. What we see here is an aerial view of the building. And to the left of it, you see the circle here that encircles our building. It is right now the building abuts a series of townhouses, both on Dudley Street and also on Kenilworth. On the left side of it, you see this empty space, which is right now it's an empty lot, and there's a proposal for a building on that lot, and that's by a different developer that's a little bit further along than we are in their process with the city. I think they've already gotten approval. So there is a chance that their construction could actually start before us. But there will be a relationship between our building and their building, although they will not touch each other. But there's going to be we're introducing what we're calling a pedestrian walkway between the two buildings. And I think further slides will show that. If you can go to the next slides, please. Let the next one, if you don't mind.
All right. Okay.
Okay, so I think what these slides are talking about, you'll see a couple of these slides where we show these red boxes. It just shows that the white part that you see at the bottom here is imagine that's the existing building, and we're showing the red on top. We just kind of show from for massing and scale what we intend to add to the building. Next one. Okay, a couple more views showing uh where we actually doing some interventions and also adding to the building on the left, on the left two slides here. You'll see views from Dudley Street, and also a view of the corridor that I'm talking about, which will be between our building and the proposed building at the corner. And on this one here where you're pointing, that will be the view from Kenilworth Street. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is a picture that just shows a couple picture of neighborhood context. You know, we grew up in this neighborhood, so we know a lot about about a lot of these buildings, about these sites. If you walk the Holland Park neighborhood, especially on this in this kind of little cluster, you'll see a lot of different architecture. You'll see some tall buildings, some short buildings. You'll see some building with hardy plank siding. You'll see a lot of brick buildings. You'll see some modern buildings that were recently added to the street. You'll see some a lot of townhouses style building, but you also see some modern buildings that have been added recently in the last 20, 30 years. So it's kind of an eclectic mix of different building types. So you don't have just one language in the area. So I think our building is going to be a nice addition to the different architectural styles that currently exist in the neighborhood. Next slide, please. Okay, so this slide talks a little bit about the alleyway that we talked about. You can see on the left here, this is the proposed building, and the right is our building. And you can see in between the two buildings, what we're creating here is what we're calling a pedestrian corridor that would allow you to go from Dudley Street down a nice kind of a green area, greenway with a pathway. It allows you to go up some a set of stairs, and it will be a common deck facing Kenilworth Street, and then you'll be able to come down to Kenilworth Street. So this is a way. Right now, the two streets are disconnected. This is a way of connecting Dudley and Kenilworth Street, and allowing a pathway between the two. Next slide. This is a slide that talks about ways we're thinking of enhancing the streetscape. Our main accessible entry to the building will be on Dudley Street. What we intend to do is keep the original historic entry to the building, and just do some minor modification via the sidewalk, and maybe the step at the front to allow the building to become accessible from this end of the building. This will be the official front door of the building, so we'll make that accessible, and we'll look at ways to maybe with the help and permission from the city to add some street trees to kind of beautify the sidewalk a little bit as you enter the building. Next slide, please. Okay, so here we start talking about a little bit more idea of the architectural site plan of the building. You can see the shaded area on the left-hand side. That's the proposed building. Again, we got a pedestrian corridor in between. Then we have a proposed building, and on the right you can see some kind of a rooftop views of where the building is going. I think one of the things the owner has asked us to do is look at a way to make the building as sustainable as possible. So other than just using materials that are sustainable, and also the windows and the energy systems, heating and cooling system that we plan on using, we're also thinking of adding a green roof onto the building. It will not be a green roof that will be open to the users for for entertainment or anything like that. But it'll just be a green roof that will be mainly to help with the consumption of to help with the load into the building. So but this is still we don't know exactly if it's going to be a tray style, if it's going to be a planted roof, but we're still debating that. But it will be some sort of green roof at the end. So if you go to the next slide, please. Okay. So we're proposing 18 units. And we're proposing 1-to-1 bike spaces for each unit there will be 18 bike racks, and there will be in a secure location in the building that will be accessible through either through the pedestrian corridor that I've talked about earlier, and you can also access it through the building while you're inside. So the tenants don't necessarily have to go outside to get access to it. They can get to it from their unit, or they can get to it from the exterior coming from Dudley Street. They can also even do it from Kenilworth, from the common deck that I brought up before. So here's a couple of the unit summaries. So what are we proposing? What we're proposing is a mix of 2 bedrooms, 1 and studios.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So we don't really have any jurisdiction over the interior of the building.
Okay, well, then we can skip.
So,
we can skip that.
Yeah, if you can
Yep.
just skip that,
Yep, we
that
can
would be
skip
good.
That'd be great. It's fine with me. Okay, so because this is the front of the building. This is what the building would. We're hoping the building would look like. I think I've mentioned before. There's a proposed building next door. You can see it on the right-hand side. Then on the left-hand side, you can see the existing townhouses, and this is a building in the middle here. The bottom part that you see that is rendered in brick is the existing building that we want to keep as much as possible. So what our task from the owner, and also after many conversations with the city, including landmarks and BPDA, our hope is to really keep the historic part of the building intact and add to it, add the 3 stories addition on top of it, which material that will not compete with the brick, and also keeping the proportions in a way that are in keeping with the historic nature of the original building. So once I think in a further slide we'll be able to see what the original building looks like. Okay, I think you just skipped to the Kenilworth side. This is what the building will look like on the Kenilworth side of the building. I think in this view you can see some inkling of the green roof that I mentioned before. You can see the common deck that I talked about. It's also shown here, and you can also see the brick part, which is a lower level that will remain. Okay, next slide. Again, a couple more views from Kenilworth. This shows a better view of the common deck that I talked about, and the pedestrian corridor that allows you to go from Kenilworth down to Dudley Street, connecting the 2 streets, which is right now does not exist. Next slide. A couple more views from Dudley Street. That gives the building a little bit more context between it and its neighbors. Again, more slides. Thank you. I think those speak for themselves. I don't know if... Okay, speaking of material, so what is our hope here to use for material? Our understanding is it'd be very hard for us to replicate the classic brick that exists right now in this building. So what we're trying to do is try not to compete with the brick or trying to mimic what is there. So what we want to do is introduce a different material for the upper floors, kind of that will complement the existing brick. We will wrap that around the corridor, the pedestrian corridor, and bring that back into the Kenilworth, which I think will tie in the building pretty nicely. So now we have those 2 gables on the front that kind of to reminisce of the original building look, and then our hope is to use a standing seam roof at that front part of the building, and then of course as you go towards Kenilworth, we'll have that green roof.
Joseph and Fred, is there any way I can share my screen, being that you guys we have certain presentation material that we would like the commission to see?
Yes, please
yes.
Okay.
go ahead.
Please,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. So, let me just grab this. Share. Then we're gonna go with here. Share. Okay. All right, here.
Yeah, this is great.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. This. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, you can speak towards this, Fred, as far as the historic context.
Yes. Thank you for doing this, Charles, because I just realized that that was not part of the slide that the commission has. So just on the left-hand side is the historic building. This is the original building, how it looked. As you can see on the right is what we're proposing. And I think one of the things which we're trying to do is trying to keep our buildings similar in terms of scale and even style as it relates to the original building. And also, which is very important to us, keeping the relationship of our proposed building similar to the relationship of the historic building to the townhouses. If you can look at the townhouses that are on the left of the of both buildings, you can see the relationship between the townhouses and the original building, and the townhouses and our building. So we feel like we're bringing back what was originally there in terms of scale, in terms of feel. So it's kind of bringing it back to its original feel, for lack of a better word. But that's why we have the gable roof style reminiscing. You can see the windows is kind of using the same kind of I think uh, divided lights and scale that was there on the original building. Of course, there are some deviation because this building was more of a public-facing building, while the new building is a residential building. So we had to make some compromise on the location of the windows in order for the units and the inside to work. But I think we've came to a nice community here, as a compromise that allows us to still allow to have a functioning floor plate while having a front facade that respects the original intent of the building. Okay, I don't know if is there anything else on this?
No, I think that's fine. Let's see if just quickly.
Yeah, some of these things we talked about.
We want to talk about the scaping here, the landscape. Yes. And this gives you a better concept from our landscape architect's perspective. To the left slide, we're dealing with the understanding of the roof and the roof garden that we are proposing for the site. And the middle segment is showing the entrance from Dudley to Kenilworth and some of the planting scenarios that we're considering to add a green space for that area. And there's also this, Joan, if you want to speak towards the light well concept here.
Yeah, so I mean, often people think of light well, it's boxed in all four sides, and you just open to the element of above. In our case, what we're planning on doing is it's really a three-phase light well, because we are going to punch an opening at the facing the alleyway, so that will allow a lot of air and light to come in, to allow us to have that kind of what we're calling a little green area that will be accessible to the tenants on the ground floor.
Right, and then the Kenilworth side will also have a green planting scenario that will complement the community with the treescapes. And there's also another green space here that will have a planting of trees and shrubs at the entrance of the Kenilworth location. The design obviously has also an elevator to accommodate accessibility, which is important to us. This building, if you look at the Dudley area, there are not many buildings that do meet the standard of accessibility in the current age. So we think this elevator is very important to provide for some of the units to be accessible for handicapped individuals. And we're working with the city and the accessibility board on that access plan.
Thank you, Charles.
Okay.
Charlie, if you can just bring it back to the slide with the historic building next to our building, then we can open it up for questions here.
Okay.
Sure,
Yeah.
commissioners, this is an advisory review, just so we're not going to be voting on this project. This is just to get your feedback and comments to the project team.
All right. Are there commissioners who would like to comment first?
Yeah, I have a question on this passageway between the two buildings. I don't see the width of that. How wide is that?
It's currently it's between 13 to 14 feet. It's pretty generous.
Okay. And the other question I have is on the light shaft.
Yes.
That goes down through the building.
Yes.
That's only accessible by one unit.
No, it'll be accessible by all units because it's off a corridor and the ground floor. So every unit will be able to access it.
So it's public space on the ground floor?
Yes, it's public space for the tenants. Yes.
Yes, got it. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Other commissioners? I will say, you know, per the study report, commissioners are specifically required to provide detailed reasons for every decision they make. That's page 79 of the study report. So we are required actually to make comments and share our opinions.
Thank you. We're here to hear them.
Joe, that's your reading of page 79 as well, right? Of the
This is
study
an
report.
this is an advisory review. We're not deliberating on making a decision tonight. We're
Okay.
providing comments and feedback on this project. So hopefully they can come back in the future with a approvable project.
Okay, but we do need commissioners to participate. You know, we can't just sit and be quiet. You know, that's not our job here.
Are you requesting a response from somebody?
I think that all commissioners should speak up, and obviously they've all taken time to read this present, or you know, they've all hopefully taken an hour or half an hour. I don't know what it is to review this presentation in advance, and they should have comments related to how this building relates to the standards and criteria. That's our job. If no one else wants to go, I'll jump in here. But I would just urge commissioners to read page 79. So the original building, it's 4 stories here.
Yeah.
And you're proposing a 5-story building. And I would like to see the facade on Dudley Street be rebuilt in its entirety. You know, if you want to do a different roof after those 2 gables, I think that's okay. You know, but I like that you're kind of replicating the 2 gables on the Dudley Street side. But I really do believe this building should be a 4-story building. There aren't a lot of precedents for a 5-story building in the neighborhood, especially on this part of the neighborhood. But I do like that you are restoring the facade, and I would like to see on the Dudley Street side, I would like to see the windows, you know, all be kind of symmetrical or nearly symmetrical based on the historic rendering. And, you know, as long as you're replicating that facade, I'm okay with you demolishing the porch. That wasn't really mentioned, but you're demolishing the porch. There isn't much left of it, right? But you are demolishing it. I do appreciate on the Kenilworth side that you are saving or restoring the trim that's around the main entry there. I appreciate that detail. I'm generally okay with the materials chosen, especially standing seam metal. And I agree that you should not be trying to replicate the brick. The addition, materials on the addition should read differently. We shouldn't be trying to copy the brick. It's almost impossible to do that anyways. I'm generally okay with the garden space, which is being put in place of the porch. I think that's a fine idea. But I don't see a lot of argument to make this building 5 stories. There's if you referenced in your response section 8.4, which talks about diversity of building massing and height, and that goes through and talks about different streets that have 4 and 5 story buildings. But the streets that are mentioned in that section, for instance, Kenilworth, really the max height is 4 story. Linwood Square, the max height is 4 stories. Highland Park Ave, max height 4 stories. There's one building on Ford Ave, one building in the it is 5 stories, and we generally only have 2 tall buildings in the entire neighborhood, which is 170 acres. We have the Norfolk House, which is 7 stories, and the Marcus Garvey Gardens building, which is 7 stories, with if you count the elevator shaft, it could, theoretically be 8 stories. The Cox building is 4 stories. So there's really not a lot of precedence to go to 5 stories. And specifically, the standards and criteria talk about having a standard of height. Okay, number 4 on page 81 under new construction. Generally, the height of new construction shall respect certain standards of scale in the neighborhood in order to maintain the district's special qualities, including overall building height and massing. So, 5 stories doesn't really represent a standard of scale in the neighborhood. And if there's anyone that can make that argument, I'm all ears. But
I'd like to make the argument.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Unless Selena, you were going to do so.
Well,
no, I just it's related. I just have a question. I think we might have had this discussion in reference to a different project before, but I know we're talking about stories, but in terms of absolute height, because I saw the renderings of the original, kind of like the relationship of the proposed building compared to the original building, the relationship to the townhouses. So I'm just wondering the absolute height. Do you happen to know it for the original versus the proposed?
Okay. Yeah, Jonah, do you just to be clear, the original building was approximately 48 feet, and our building is coming in at about 51 feet.
Yes.
Right, because you guys have a shorter roof. You have a shorter, those gabled dormers are much shorter.
No, not just that. Not just that. We're achieving that by also having a shorter floor-to-floor height.
Yes,
on the upper 3 floors. So I think we may get hung up a little bit on the number of stories, but I think the real issue here is the overall height of the building, and I think what we try to respect is the original design, and I think making this building shorter, and also having the gable next to the townhouses is really going to hurt the building. I think the height works. I think if we look at the relationship between our building and the townhouses, and the relationship between the original building and the townhouses before all of us were born, you will see that we consistent. So I think that's what, as far as we're concerned, that's what governs. you know, and if you look at the other parts of the neighborhood, you will see even more drastic differences between buildings are right next to each other. And I think Charles can show some of those here. You can see buildings that are basically residential, single family residential scale, right next to
Right,
those.
that's a 4-story building, right. I agree. That's I would totally be okay with making a 4-story building. You have precedence right down the street for that.
But I think what I'm trying to say here is I mean if you look at the scale of a building, the overall height of a building, and its relationship to the townhouses is very similar to what was there originally. And I think that's what we're getting accused. Now, we can disagree that we should mimic that or replicate that, but I think this is, as far as a charge from the owners and also multiple conversation with the PDA and also other folks from Landmark, we arrive at that now. We arrive at that composition because we feel it respects the original architecture. It respects the original relationship between the building and its closest neighbor. And I think reducing the height of the building will end up hurting the building.
Well, I wouldn't. I know I'm not suggesting that. Sorry.
Andrew, just for comment and respectfully, I understand your point of view. The each floor, as we measure from ceiling to from floor to ceiling on the original building, was 12 feet. So that's the reason why our upper stories are calculated at about 8 feet each. So this is the reason why, you know, our story count may be not necessarily the proper measurement based on the original building's height.
Right. Yeah, it had I don't know, probably big spaces inside the public building when it was there. But I wouldn't I just want to clarify that I'm not asking you to reduce the overall size of the building. I'm actually reducing the number of stories. So the height you see in the historic rendering, I'm totally good with that. And the relationship of that height with the neighboring row houses, that seems appropriate. That was what was there.
Okay. So your problem is the number of stories, not the height of the.
Exactly. You have a lot of windows in there, in the upper floors look, you know, smashed in comparison to the lower floors. There's a proportional issue there with the windows and the relationship of the. I mean, the historic facade is obviously very symmetrical. I mean, the windows on the sidewalk level are smaller, right? But the four windows above that are approximately the same size. They look identical. So in your rendering, you know, the newer floors have different size windows than the lower floors.
Yeah, and I think from the development standpoint, obviously the architectural side is the driver here in this meeting regarding the commission. We're driving the design to have a little bit more density for the future relative to going with the original design, due to the cost of construction, and also there are costs for this elevator for accessibility. And I think accessibility is a key here, a key factor on some of our decision making on making the building a little bit bigger versus going with 3 floors.
Understood. Okay. Yeah, respectfully, we don't control how many units you put on the inside. So
right, but it is driving the external. It is driving the external aspects of what you're discussing. So
understood.
And I think we're looking to approach the commission for advisory, and we appreciate your advice, but we also would like to understand different perspectives on how we can accommodate the future density, density.
Yeah, my opinion is just one, and it's ultimately not up to me. It's up to a vote, and you know, other commissioners may feel, you know, very differently than I do. Likely they do. So it's not just my voice. I'm not the commission.
I appreciate that. And we have gone through various design studies and also Article 80 design studies with the city of Boston. We've reviewed this height. We've had conversations about this height. And I think we all came to a collective decision that this would be the best approach for this site. Also understanding your point clearly, but we think the rhythm of the block and the future dimensions are in question right now. And I don't think we want to go lower. We actually want to be in perspective of what we think the block should look like in the future.
Yeah, you'll probably get, talking to different city agencies, you're going to get different advice. We're coming at this from just a historic perspective.
Correct.
Other agencies are probably going to tell you to make the building quite a bit taller. So that's their perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
They have a different agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's other elements of the standards and criteria in terms of, like, I think what also defines the neighborhood is all the different building types to accommodate different types of family structures, and the mix of like multifamily, single, the couple of larger buildings you mentioned, Commissioner Shelburne. So I think there is an aspect of one, that there is that mix. And I actually appreciate that this building sort of breaks up similar to the original building, it breaks up the feeling of like this one massive block, like it gives it an interesting different elevations. And I do think it honors the standard of, what's new is different, right? You're preserving the old and you're also adding new. So it's not trying to like, continue the brick up to the top or, so I personally don't mind the difference in the window styles between the new part and the historic part, especially given that it has like a new function, right, as a residential building.
Thank you for your feedback.
Thank you, Selena.
Other commissioners, Commissioner Costin.
Yeah, well, so one, we don't really have much to say as how the building is used on the inside, whether it's as a large public space with big windows in order to get as much lighting, natural lighting, or whether, you're going to reduce it to, 8-10-foot ceilings for however number of units you can get in there. But what it looks like on the outside is important. And I think that's really going to be what people are going to look at for a long time. And, maybe whatever legacy we have, like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
So what it looks like on the outside is important. So the height, I feel like it's sort of under control. It's within, and if you can keep the facade and maybe change the floors and where they relate to the windows. I mean, like in some parts of the country, like Louisiana, people actually walk through windows, because the windows are all the way down to the floor, and then in some parts, like in I don't know, like in Minnesota or up towards the Dakotas, they're very small windows and they're only up to about your waist, So there's a variation on where the floor is in relationship to the windows, but the windows in this area, should sort of fit with as much of the way the building looked originally, and still making it possible. And how many units you can get out of there, that's between you, the bank, and your planners.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Costin.
Appreciate your feedback, Commissioner.
Commissioner Samaha.
Again, if I would like to say something, I can just chime in. Thank you, Andrew.
Okay, but we are required to speak our minds here.
I understand, Andrew. I'm listening. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's not just about listening, though. We have
Andrew,
to give them direction.
I think it's okay. Thank you.
It's not.
Andrew, we got it. It's good.
Andrew, we got it. You made your point, Andrew. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, people are complaining that we're not following the standards and criteria, and this is just another
So
example.
what's next? Yeah, what else is on the
Next
agenda?
step, Andrew. Thanks for the lecture. Thank you again for the lecture. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well,
All
I
right,
think
let's
I
move on
think
to
there
public
is a
comment.
valid difference between advisory and design reviews, and where there's a vote involved versus where there's advice being given. And so I think, we're all here to serve, and I think it's okay if there isn't specific advice to give. I don't think that's in violation of any of our standards and criteria.
They're looking for advice, and so we need to give them advice. That's the point of this.
I have to say we've gotten some good advice so far.
But you've only heard from me, and it doesn't
Well,
matter.
Andrew, I understand, Andrew, but I gotta say something about this meeting though. We keep making these meetings excessively long, and we've already had 2 commissioners drop off. If someone wants to say something, they can say something. If you'd like to have a meeting, Andrew, to discuss this at another time, let's go. But it's really pushing the time limits, and we respect people's time, but seemingly you just want to keep pushing us and keep having this conversation. And I respectfully say there's a time and place. You'd like to have another conversation, we can have another meeting. But these people here are here for their advice. They've been on the call for quite a long time. If you want to keep forcing the agenda, it's just wasting their time. So thank you.
I'm just asking everyone to participate.
Just keep repeating it. Just move on then, okay? If someone wants to say something, we're all adults.
Public comment.
I understand. We're all adults. Move on.
Yeah, let's go to public comment if no one else has anything.
If you want to chair the meeting, share it in a proper way.
Okay. If you could stop sharing your screen, I just need to get my script up here.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
All right, thank you.
So we open now for public comment?
Yep, I'm just going to bring the script up here, Ernest.
Okay.
All right, Andrew, if you could read the script.
Public comment. Members of the public will now have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on the application and discussions. To do so, please raise your hand via the Zoom meeting platform. If you are calling in and cannot use the platform, please, you can press *9 to raise your hand, or you can send your questions to staff via email at highlandacdc@boston.gov.
All right, Joan Teamster. Joan?
Yep, no, it just takes a second to unmute. You understand that. So don't give me the 2-minute countdown until I'm unmuted and ready to make my comments. Thank you.
Good to hear you, Joan. It's a pleasure.
Thanks. Thank you. Hi, Ernest. I miss you.
Miss you too.
I live in Highland Park, and I just want to say something, and I don't want this to count towards my time. We are getting inundated by developers in Highland Park, and I am eternally grateful to the commissioners on this call who are doing their job, standing up for our community and voicing our community's concerns. And that's all I'm going to say, but it's noted who does and who does not support this community and our concerns. So I'm very grateful for the people that are doing that. Thank you. A couple of comments. First of all, some of us have seen renderings of this building. Now this is maybe the third series of renderings on this building. It's come around a couple of times. I'm not sure who on the call is titled project manager. We didn't get introduced to the project team. And I don't know if it would just be nice to have in the notes who the project team is. Sure. We don't have it. So I'm just making that as a comment. It doesn't have to be responded to now, but it would be nice to know who the project team is. Point of fact, The last time this building was presented, it was presented as a 4-story, not as a 5. So a 4-story is very doable in this building because it was presented as that previously. So I just poured a point of fact. Couple of questions. The building that it's abutting, have the abutters meetings taken place, and what are the abutters comments? I don't know where in the process you all is, and if this is just the first pass, maybe the abutters meetings have not taken place, but if they had, we'd like to know. Second point, the rooftop by one person presenting was described as not designed for use by owners. The next person that presented the rooftop said it was going to be a rooftop garden. Point of clarity on what the plan is for the rooftop, and a point of comment for our neighborhood. We have a very strong preference against any rooftop activity because we have police that have to then come and manage the rooftop activity on the weekends. And so we avoid that by not, wherever possible, not including rooftop gardens on any buildings or residences. The legacy of this building is enormous. This used to be the center of Roxbury when Roxbury was the center of Boston. So understand what this legacy is. And even though, and we've seen photos of the inside of the building of the 2 stories that are still in existing. The only comment made about how the original 2 stories are going to be maintained in this plan was in the following sentence: keep the existing building as much as possible, and then add 3 stories on top. I would like detail to the ACD how the existing building is going to be kept, and I want promises made that will be kept and will be monitored about what is going to be retained out of the existing 2 stories to this building. And finally, one last comment. No, I'd like to finish, please. Thank you. One last comment. The renderings that are up the block, that are the ones also in development, the renderings in these photos are incorrect. They don't mirror what is proposed for that. So when you're looking at scale across the top of this street, please include the proper scope and height and density of the other proposed renderings so that we really can read what this is going to look like relative to the other new building. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan.
Do we get to answer to these? Andrew or Joe, do we get to answer?
If we can briefly touch on
Yeah, you should be able to respond.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although the abutters piece is not germane to our commission, is that right? Joe or Andrew? Like, I don't know if we need to be.
But they can.
You're right. That's not part of the standards or criteria. But I think you know, if you could just
I would like to hear the
briefly mention.
response. Yeah, I would like to hear the response. So.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of points made, but I like I said, I'm on the road, so I wasn't able to write down everything that was said. But let me just some of the important things that were said. I'd like to answer to them. One, regarding what's remaining of the building. I think that's an important piece that needs to be answered. Other than the porch right now. That is, if you're on Dudley Street, on your right hand side, there's a porch, kind of the relic porch. Other than that, the rest of the building is remaining. The exterior of the building is remaining. Of course, we're gonna redo a lot of the work in the inside. Other than the porch that's being demolished, okay, we keeping the building intact. So when we say we're keeping as much of it as possible, we're talking about demolishing that wooden porch that's attached to the brick building. That's what we mean by that.
And can I jump in? Can I jump in, Fred?
Sure.
So Joan, we thank you for your comment, and we will provide all the clarity required for you to properly calculate the potential of this building. As you mentioned, the building has been through the commission, through this review process with prior developers. We live in the neighborhood. We have a purpose. We have an interest in what we're doing here to restore the building to its original intent historically, and add a level of housing that's reasonable to the community. Okay. We're working with the community directly. We're working with the architectural district directly. work with the city directly, and we would like this to be something that eliminates the blight, for which most importantly eliminates the blight. And secondly, what's more,
I'm sorry. Who's speaking?
This is Charles Robson, the project manager. I'm sorry, Ernest. This is Charles Robson.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see, but I can only hear you. I don't. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me see where we're at here. This is myself here.
Thank you.
Very, very nice to meet you. So the intent is definitely to eliminate the blight on the building, work with the community in a participatory manner, add green space to the community, add a roof deck that has an environmental impact to the community due to the green potential that we can put on the roof. And not for public space at all, not for any public use at all. The roof will just have green flowers on the top to control the climate in the building from a green perspective. That's it. It's an innovation that we're adding to the building. Okay, it's a current innovation, and we'd like that to happen with this historical foundation that we have here. Obviously, like as she mentioned, this particular building has a huge history, has a legacy and an architectural legacy that we would like to respect. And we respect the Roxbury community more than anyone.
Yeah. All right,
we live in this community.
All
So
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kate Phelps.
Okay.
You guys had a chance to respond, right? You're good with the response?
I think so. I mean, there were a couple other points that were brought up, but I think these were the main two things I wanted to respond to was the how much of the historic building we're keeping, and also the nature of the green roof. And I think we've answered that.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
We heard you. Yeah.
Let's move on to Kate Phelps.
Okay.
Thanks. I would like to first echo what Joan Seamster said. I think Commissioner Samaha has shown complete disrespect for someone that we as a neighborhood put forward to represent us as a neighborhood. You don't. And if you're sorry about the pace of the meeting, then go somewhere else. But Commissioner Shelburne has done more work, not only in being a commissioner, but in writing the standards and criteria for this neighborhood, and show a little respect. In terms of the design, I happen in this case to agree with Commissioner Shelburne. I think a closer approximation of the original front would do more justice to its historical importance. Your interest of developers in trying to cram in as many people is not the purview of this commission. Obviously, the city wants you to. You can make more money doing it, but that's not something that's going to enhance the neighborhood. And I'm not sure that a green roof, who, after everybody has purchased their condo, is going to maintain this roof. They're expensive to build and they're hard to maintain. I'm also not convinced that adding, a few inches of green in between two towering adjacent buildings is going to be a place where many people hang out, except the rats. I appreciate there being grass rather than just more tarmac, but I don't think that sells the project. I also respect what you're trying to do. I'm glad you've picked this up from the earlier developer team that failed to pull this off. We have to consider this, or the commission has to consider this, in relationship to what is being built 17 feet away or 12 feet away. It's a very close fit. And I think the building could look more remarkable in its historic context if it better reflects what used to be there. And I think 3 stories better reflects that. Thank you.
Yeah. Can I answer very quickly? I think what we try to do, Kate, is try to adhere as close as possible to what the original look of the building was. But of course, we have to to make it work, because we're transitioning from a public building to a residential building, and there we can't replicate exactly what was there before, but we try to respect it as much as possible. And as far as you know, I mean, I don't want to speak for Charles. I don't speak to anybody else, but we've lived in the neighborhood. We care. We're not outside developers or architects coming in doing this. I mean, I've been in the city of Boston, all my life. We've lived in this neighborhood. Some of us live around the corner. So I yield to no one when it comes to love and affection for this neighborhood. So I yield to no one. And I appreciate everybody else who was speaking with great affection about this area, and we feel exactly the same way.
Yes, and Kate, we appreciate your comments. Just quickly, just for clarity, this is going to be a rental scenario and not condos, and we're technically we're trying to create an environment where we can have a level of workforce housing, and we're not receiving any money from the state or the government to produce this economic effect to keep this in line. As you know, the cost of housing is astronomical in the community, and we're willing to, as developers, change our approach not to gouge, but yet and still provide a level of workforce affordability for these particular units. They will not be sold as condos, so we can walk away with certain economic effects. And I appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
I'd just like to take a second just to admire the echo chamber that is Joan and Andrew. And I've shown a lot of respect to this committee, but you guys seem to think that silence isn't productive. But when you sit there and repeat the same things over and over, and you talk to a person and you shut them down for doing things that are very innovative, like the green space, you guys just seem to want to hear yourselves talk in a negative way, like everyone's a crusader coming out to pillage the area. You don't want people to come and improve the area. And yes, we've disagreed on things. I've turned down things in this committee, but the way you guys speak lacks respect. And when you say that I don't have respect for someone, that's just offensive. And I don't care. We're taken away from the presenters, who are the real important part of this meeting. And it's a shame that way you guys talk to people. Shame.
Nick, if
All right, thank you right
keep
along, and moving right along to the next thing on the agenda, Andrew.
I'm sorry, no, we're still wrapping up public comment, and then we can close the meeting, or go to staff comments.
Yeah, I see two more people on public comment.
Nicholas, if you could keep
2 minutes.
Keep it brief, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, you guys. I've got my composure back. I'm sorry. But in terms of this building, actually, it doesn't seem anywhere near as sort of invasive, so to speak. And I think it's got a good ideology behind the idea that, it's doing its best to, let's say, not take free money off the state. And it seems like an honest attempt to try to blend in somehow with the neighborhood. It still might fall short, but that's not for me to say. And I'm not an architect, but I do sort of want to chime in again on the idea about the procedural aspects of, in general, that I think we need to be alerted to the idea that we are not the last step in the process. And I guess some of us already know this, but right from the get-go, we need to be able to include in our bylaws that hopefully will come, that will allow us to have some real teeth here to save a lot of time and money for developers and the commissioners and for all of us. And so, like, let's say 51 Dudley Street it's at a stage where, it's contingent on review and like our architectural stuff, but because we lack the adopted published bylaws, it sort of renders all this sort of unenforceable, and the idea of criteria and dimensional standards, and it sort of undermines the legitimacy of.
Yeah, Nick, you're going in a different direction. And
yeah, well, no, I'm not. No, what I'm trying to say
it's
is
8:45 now.
All right, no, let me put it better. I'm sorry, you're right. I think we need to assert the idea in going forward that we can go forward into the beginning of projects, that we need to empower ourselves. I guess that's what I'm getting at, to solve some of this frustration that I'm feeling from a lot of people here. And I understand the frustration of the developers too. I just think this thing is a little broken. It needs to be fixed.
All right, we're working on it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Mr. Grant.
Chris.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Now, yes.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
I am Christopher Grant. I live at 13 Dudley Street, which is right down the street from this project. And I appreciate that this project is moving forward. We've had years of blight with that building, looking at it, and unsuccessful tries from other developers for many different reasons, some internal, some external. And I think that the design, they've done a good job at trying to keep what's there, but I don't think that it has to be exactly the same. And as an abutter, I have to look at it more than other people who don't live on the street. And
Every day.
yeah, but I live here, so I know you don't live on the street. But what I'm saying is that as an abutter, I'm saying that it is appreciated that this is moving forward, something is happening, and this consideration is actually a considerate developer and not one just coming in to take advantage of the neighborhood.
So you
And
like it? You like it?
I think it's good. I think it's
Okay.
good. I think it's good. I think it'll do the job. It will fill the space that needs to be filled in that space
Makes me feel good.
that has been neglected. So so I appreciate it and just want to keep it moving. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. Are there
Yes,
any
thanks,
other public?
Chris.
Are there any other public comments?
I just want to report that I did receive a public comment from Lee Peters, and I had shared that with the commissioners prior to the hearing. He expressed concern about the height of the building in relationship to the other buildings in this area of the district, and also the materials of the addition to the historic building.
Okay. All right. We'll look at that letter.
Yeah,
again.
we covered a lot of it.
All right. I'm going to close public comment now, and let's move to staff updates, Joe.
All right, yeah, thank you. Thank you to those presenters. Thank you to all you commissioners for staying on. I really appreciate it. Thank you, and all the time that you give the commission. I just very quickly want to report. I know we've talked about district signage in the past, and I just want to show you what we've been talking about in the South End. Many of you may remember, and some of them still exist, the South End Historic District signs. Eventually, this is something that we would hope to install in Highland Park, and I know there's been concern about new residents, existing residents not realizing that they are in a historic district. So we're hoping that this is something that will help alert people that it is a historic district and give the district the recognition that it deserves. The sign shop is very understaffed and can barely keep up with the work they're required to do to replace damaged and missing signs throughout the city. But this is something that we continue to keep on our radar and something that we continue to hope to move forward. But that being said, I think as an interim, when we don't have signage, I think doing another mailing like we did when the district was created to all of the property owners in the district, again, to alert them that they are in a district, and especially Ernest, that they can't remove trees from private property without coming to the commission. So what I will do is share this flyer that we had sent out when the district was created to get some feedback from commissioners about what we should include or what's missing before we go on a campaign to mail it. And that's I think Andrew, did I forget anything that you were hoping
Joe, before you move on, may I just make
go ahead, Selena, please.
I saw the mailer and I think it may follow. I didn't get to read it in detail, but it looks like it says it's only in English and then it has in other languages. This has important information. You should get it translated. So if there is an opportunity, I know there's some really creative ways to maximize space so that you're not getting into a more expensive mailer, to actually have the information in the most frequently spoken languages in the district. I think that's important, because if not, you're creating a barrier for people who are not fluent in written English.
Thank you. Good point.
Good point. point. Very good point. Joe, maybe you can share like the flyer that was sent out when the district was created, just to have people get a sense, share it with commissioners, so people
Yes.
get a sense of what we're kind of aiming for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people can comment on that. Commissioners can comment on that if they wish. All right. What else? Meeting minutes. We're up to date on meeting minutes. We're working on bylaws. We're going to have a separate meeting at sometime in August about the bylaws.
Yeah, I'll be reaching out to schedule another special meeting for that.
All right. I think that's it then. Anybody else have anything quickly?
Yeah, I got make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Who was the second? Andrew, okay. We can just do a voice vote. All in favor?
Yes.
All right. Aye.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you.
Good night, everybody. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Randy.
You know, you guys can have my share
Hey,
of mosquitoes.
Nicholas, thank you, Nicholas.
Thank you,
'cause
Randy. Thank you,
it's good to
everybody.
someone that
Really,
cares.
it's a good
All
thing.
right,
We're
good night.
getting there. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.